Hey guys, I've gotten a few requests on how I'm creating the Cinemagraphs, and I wanted to be able to teach you guys how I've done those. There's a simple way that I found to be able to just create them and get them out pretty quickly, and I wanted to walk you through that. So what I wanted to do is just start from the beginning, and what I was doing is when I was photographing the session, I was actually taking a few video clips as well, and those video clips were filmed in slow motion. So I've already found the one that I want to use, and for this example, it's just going to be the 77051, which is right here. So what I want to do is I'm going to first open this up in Premiere. And I'm going to do my color grading and adjustments to the original clip inside that, and also make it slow motion before I do anything else. Perfect. So one of the easiest ways to be able to get your media into Premiere is to just drag and drop. So I already know what I'm looking for. I'm just going to take that, place it right there. And one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm just going to unlink the audio and video, and then I'm actually going to change the speed and duration. I'm going to reduce it by half. And the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to find a good starting point, one where she's not blinking and everything looks good. Actually, in the beginning, that's fine. Okay, so a few of the other things that I'm going to do right off the bat is similar to what I do in Lightroom. So I want to be able to correct this to be able to look a little bit more like something I'd post inside my feed. So I will start with some effects, and I might try to get this a little bit more level, and then let's scale it just a little bit. So that takes up the full frame. Cool, that looks just about right. Then I'm going to go into my color, and the color settings in here are set up really similar to what you'll find in Lightroom. And I already know, for the most part, what it is I want to do to be able to get it looking similar to something I would post in my feed. Just do some basic ones in there. And also add a little bit of a vignette. Okay, that's looking pretty good. You can hit spacebar if you want to see how it looks, and that's actually going a little bit slow, so change the speed to like 55 or maybe even 60. Yeah, I like that a little bit more. So then once you get your speed where you want it, you can just file, export the media, and then if you click this button right there, you can choose where it's going to go on your desktop. I'm just going to rename this as example and save it, and I'm going to go ahead and export it. It just takes a little bit. While that's happening, we'll go ahead and open up Photoshop, and we're going to start a new project. I'm going to create a Cinemagraph. Actually, there's an easier way to do that. One second. So we have our video right here. We're actually just going to drag and drop this into Photoshop. It's going to port it over the way that we need it and size it correctly. So the first thing that I would do, and there's probably an easier way to do this, so if so, just let me know. Convert to frames, and once you do this, I'll export that as an image, and you'll see why I do this in just a second. Great, so I have all my frames now, and we do not want to use that one. Instead, what I do want to use is one of these original ones. So I can actually go in and turn off these other ones, and delete them in our case. So that's the one I want. I'm going to go ahead and either save as or export it. And we're going to call this the overlay. Saving it as a JPEG is totally fine. Okay. And then I'm just going to close this out for simplicity. I'm going to look at that overlay real quick, and that's fine. So now what we can do is our video's exported and we have our overlay. So we can take that example video again and we're going to place it back into Photoshop. It's going to open it up. And now we're also going to put our overlay on top of it. And we're going to match the length. And also I saw turn this off real quick. She actually got up in that one, so she get up right about there. So I asked her to stay as still as possible, and there's slight movement, but right about the time she stands up, right there, I actually want to decrease this to be able to match that timing so that she's not standing up. So then what you can do now is I'm going to turn back on my top layer, and you're just going to see an image. Like, it's not going to do anything. But what you can easily do is you can take your overlay image, so your top image, which is right here, and we're going to add a mask to it. And with black selected and our brush tool, increase size a little bit. That's fine. Opacity and flow is brought all the way up. We're just going to quickly go through this and kind of just brush right where the dryer would be shown. It's going to be real rough around this. Clean this up in just a sec. Okay, so we'll make this a little bit larger just to knock this out really quick. Okay, so there goes one. Come here and do the second one. I'm going to make this smaller real quick just so we can get a little bit more detail here. So we'll go around this. Great. We're going to do the same thing on this side. When I actually do these, I spend longer actually getting really close to it so that it looks pretty real, but this should do. Okay, so now since I've masked that top layer right there with the brush tool, when I hit the space bar, it should just play these two sections and keep everything else still. Okay, so that's looking pretty good, and you could zoom in and kind of see how this is. You can see some, like, it's a little bit darker right there, and you can even feather out the edges on your filter layer. A really easy way to be able to do that is if you select the filter layer, you go up to filter, blur, you can apply a blur to it, and you can even see like what that blur would look like. And that'll help clean up those edges a little bit more. Actually, that was a little bit too much. You can see it right there. So let's step backwards. Okay, so once you get this, the easiest way to be able to export this video file is you're going to click this tool right here, and you are going to render it as a video. Once you do that, you can render. We're actually going to rename this. Great, so that's exporting. It'll just take a second. And while we're doing that, I'm not going to save this because none of it matters right now, so no. And we don't need that open right now. So now I'm going to go back into Premiere, and I'm looking for my final video. There it is. So I'm going to drag my media in, and again it acts as if it has a audio file on it, so I'm going to just unlink, delete that. Video's playing good, and what I've done is I've already found a video of a sound wave that works pretty well. So what I will do is pause that. I'm going to take the sound wave and throw it in. And one of the first things that you'll notice is that is going way too fast for the dryer. So you can do the same thing that I did on the actual video and slow it down. I'm going to slow it down to 60 in this so that you can see. Yeah, that's starting to look good. And then what we will do is we'll actually just copy this layer and paste it. There it is. And what we're going to do is I'm going to kind of offset these so that it looks like two dryers playing at the same time. And so now we can go in and sweet, so that's looking way good. I'm going to trim that, and now we can go back and file, export media. I already have all my settings good. We're going to export. Should go pretty quick since we're just adding audio to it. And the final step that I go through on these is I typically change the file format just because it's easier to be able to send to yourself and be able to play on mobile devices. Pretty sure that this is it. There we go. So then I would just go to File, Export, iPad, iPhone. Since I filmed it in slow-mo, it's not going to give me the option to be able to do it in HD, but that's totally fine. And then like a high school paper, final, and we're going to save it. So once that final one saves, I can now open that up and send that to myself, do whatever I need to, but it's done. Thank you for watching.